All right, let's get into it. Today we're talking about something you see a million times a day, but probably never really think about. Lists. Bullet points, numbered steps, all that stuff. But what if I told you there's a whole secret world of power and meaning hiding behind them? At its most basic, a list is just a way to group stuff that's related. Your shopping list is all your groceries. Your to-do list is all your tasks. It seems super, super straightforward, right? We see them everywhere. They just make things easier to read. Think about a simple recipe, for instance. You see those numbered steps, and your brain immediately goes, okay, that's a list. It's a series of instructions I need to follow. It's totally intuitive for us. But, and this is a big but, what we see isn't always what a machine understands. And that right there is the big twist in this whole story. There's this huge gap between how something looks to our eyes and what it actually means to the technology that's running the web. And trust me, that distinction is absolutely everything. So check this out. Visually, these two lists look pretty much the same, don't they? One's got dashes, one's got bullets. You and I can look at this and get it instantly. But for something like a screen reader, which people with visual impairments use, the list on the left is just random lines of text. The one on the right, though, it's a real list. It gets announced as a list. That's the crucial difference. Looks are not the same as meaning. So you're probably asking, what's the secret sauce? What actually makes a list real to a browser or a screen reader? Well, it all comes down to the code that's hiding just underneath the surface. It all boils down to these specific HTML tags. You've got UL for an unordered list, bullet points where the order doesn't really matter. Then there's OL for an ordered list, like our recipe, where the sequence is key. And there's also DL, a description list, which is great for things like a glossary. When you use these, you're sending a direct signal to the browser that says, hey, pay attention. This isn't just text, it's a structured group of related items. Okay, so why bother? Why go to all the trouble of using these specific tags? Well, this is where lists show off their real superpower, accessibility. When you use the proper list tags, you're not just making dots on a page. You're giving people who use assistive tech these incredible tools. A screen reader can announce list with 5 items, and the user can decide right then and there if they want to hear the whole thing or just skip it. It also lets them jump from one item to the next, instead of having to listen to one long, messy block of text. For navigation, it's an absolute game changer. And this quote from the Pope Tech blog just nails it. This isn't about following some nerdy coding rules. It's about making the web easier for everyone to understand and to get around. That's really the whole point of building a well-structured web. Now, if you're building lists, especially ones with sub-items, there's this one golden rule, a really big one, that even a lot of developers trip up on. We gotta talk about nesting. So here's how it's supposed to work. On the left, you can see the classic mistake. A new ULI is just dropped in between list items. That's actually invalid HTML. The right way to do it, on the right, is to put the new list inside an existing list item. That's the li tag. This way, the sublist is a child of the item it actually belongs to. It keeps the whole structure logical. Okay, so we've got structure, we've got accessibility, but it's not all just about rules. This is where the fun starts. Lists can be an amazing tool for creative design. Let's unlock some of those superpowers. Have you ever wanted your bullet points to, match your brand colors? It's way easier than you think with a little CSS. First, you just tell the browser, hey, get rid of that boring default bullet point. Then you use this cool little thing called a pseudo element to create a brand new one from scratch. And you can style it however you want. Change the color, the shape, you name it. Or what about this? Say you're doing a top 10 list and you want to count down from 10 to 1. You don't need any complex code for that. HTML has a reversed attribute built right in. You just add that single word to your OL tag and poof, the browser does the countdown for you. It's so simple and so effective. And along the same lines, what if you have a really long list and you need to break it up with a paragraph? Well, the start attribute lets you tell the second part of the list what number to start on. So here, we're just telling it, hey, start counting from 5, and it picks up right where it left off. Another one of those small but mighty features. So now that we've seen the code, the accessibility, and the creative styling tricks, let's pull back the curtain. You're about to see that these lists have been hiding in plain sight all over the web this whole time. Seriously, look at pretty much any website. That main navigation menu at the top of the page, yep, it's almost always an HTML list that's just styled to look horizontal. A gallery of images, that's a list. The little breadcrumb links that show you where you are, that's a list too. They are the invisible skeleton for so many parts of the web because they're the perfect way to group related things together. And that brings us to the most important takeaway. Using a UL or an OL isn't just a style choice to get some bullet points. It's a powerful statement. You're telling browsers, search engines, and screen readers that these items belong together. You're providing real structure and meaning, and that is the absolute foundation of a strong, accessible internet. So the next time you're browsing the web, I want you to look for them. Look at a navigation bar or a list of products or a breakdown of features and ask yourself, is that a list in disguise? Because now that you know the secret, I promise you're going to start seeing them everywhere, holding our digital world together one list item at a time.